Now, while many parents dream of one day becoming empty nesters, the reality is many of our kids just can't afford to live out of home. So who did fly the coop, some who did fly the coop, I should say, are forced back under the roof of mum and dad, and then the cost of living continues to bite everybody under that roof. And then what do you do?
For families across Australia, it is sparking an awkward conversation. Should parents be charging their kids rent? And to help us answer that question, we are joined by parenting expert Justin Coulson. Justin, great to have you in the studio with us.
You have 6 daughters, I want to tell everybody.
You have 6 children, no wonder you need to charge them rent.
Absolutely, yeah, it's expensive. And it teaches them important lessons. I think it's a no-brainer. We don't do our kids any favours by removing responsibility from them. If you want your kids to grow up and be well socialised and understand this stuff, they have to carry the responsibility.
But when did you make that decision? At what age did they start paying rent?
So we've created in our family a system where you pay rent or board from the time you get your first job, which does not... I mean...
What do you mean, like Macca's? Like with the 14,
absolutely.
15?
Yeah, I remember one week, one of my kids came up to me and said, "Have fun with my $4.40, Dad." Because we just charged them a percentage. Of the overall
like,
amount.
what, 10%?
Yeah, it was 10% when they were young, yeah. So in those first few years, it's just getting them used to the fact that you've got a certain amount of money and you need a budget. There's this and there's this and there's this. So let's make sure that you've got the money set aside. It's teaching them those financial lessons early.
Do they have to also do jobs around the house?
Absolutely, yeah, that's called, I mean...
But they don't get pocket money for that?
I have to do jobs around the house as well, and I don't get pocket money for it. No, I mean, that's called being in a family, is making a contribution.
So how do we broach this conversation with our kids so they don't sort of freak out?
Yeah, so the earlier you start, the easier it is. Children who are 13 or 14 and getting their first job, 15, they respond to it a lot better than kids who are 22 and have just moved back because things aren't working out so well and now we're trying to hit them up. I think that you just let them know, as part of you growing up, we're going to ask you to take some responsibility and learn some financial lessons. Then you negotiate however you're going to do that and away you go. It's really tough though when the kids are older or when the kids are saying, no, I don't want to. That's where we have to explore what they're up to, explain why we're doing it, and then develop a solution.
Well, what boundaries to put in place? If a child comes back and says, I'm not going to do that, this is my home as well.
Home.
What do you do? Because the only option is you get out.
Yeah, well, I guess if they're under 18, you really do have a requirement. There's a lawful requirement that you look after your kids. Again, starting younger makes it easier. In our home, I'm just telling you what the parenting expert does. We explain to our kids that once they finished high school, they needed to be full-time earning or full-time learning. Otherwise, they couldn't rely on us for any additional support. And there was an expectation that not only would they contribute in the home, which is only fair, but that they would pay a reasonable amount of rent or board. We've been lucky, I guess. Our kids haven't fought too hard against
Are you saving the money up for them for something else? Are you putting that $4.40 a week away somewhere?
I can't say anything in case my children are watching.
Oh, right. Really? But do you think
there are many families who do that.
Yes.
Correct.
And then
those families, what would they do?
They might give it to them as a sort of a wedding gift or a honeymoon gift, or they might give it to them when they're ready to buy their first house and say, oh, look, here's the extra. I have heard a funny story where a family gave the $4,000 or $5,000 that had been saved up and accumulated over those years to their child, to which the child responded, oh, I wish I'd paid properly.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lesson in that as well. I think it's a really valuable conversation to have with the kids.
I mean, you've got 6 kids. You could actually never work again. Justin, good to see you. Thanks for the insight.
Correct. Thank you.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
That never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?